All right. Hi there, everybody. Welcome. How many people we have online now, Robert? About?
It's saying 11, but that spikes up pretty quickly as soon as the top of the hour hits.
Yeah. Okay. So we got people still to join. Gonna have a little bit of fun while we're waiting for folks. Why don't you show us our project, Robert?
Sounds good.
That is the camera that goes to the other room where we have our 3D printer printing a version of the Pharos lighthouse. Robert, want to tell about it?
Oh, sure. Yeah, you'll notice all of our channel on YouTube is Pharos Technology Label, named after the Pharos Lighthouse, which was on a little island just off the coast of Alexandria, Egypt. And it was built in order to bring people into Alexandria to visit the Great Library. So we kind of felt it emblematic of, I don't know, a beacon to bring people to knowledge and learning and stuff. And so yeah, it became the logo and name of the channel. And I spent a good number of hours modeling this lighthouse. So it'll take a couple of days to print, but this has been printing for about 18 hours now. And I just hope it doesn't snag before it finishes.
Yeah, which means that you see the time in the lower right-hand corner. So it's 6:03 Military Time Central. And so, yeah, if it's been printing about 18 hours, yes, he did start at about midnight last night. So
Pretty get started.
pretty cool. So we're gonna, while everybody's playing around, we're gonna put out a survey out there. So Robert, why don't you roll with that first survey, just for fun, getting to know folks. And Terry is here. Good. Glad you got the message, Terry. I'll explain a little bit what's going on, Terry, since you're so new. Brandon, I like your screen name. Valeris Winsole. That's good.
Technical difficulties with the poll. It doesn't like my answers.
It doesn't like your...
They're too
But
long.
you're not supposed to be the one answering.
I have to give the options.
Oh, okay. So while he rejiggers the poll, we'll get started. So I'll go ahead while you're doing that then. I think, Terry, you're the only one from the master's class. What you're experiencing here is also the members of the bachelor's class that we have that are already in their third week. So they are the bachelor's students to the Blockchain for Business class, while you're taking the master's version of the class. I teach both. I wrote both, and I'm the only teacher at Lindenwood that teaches about blockchain. So you're kind of stuck with me, unfortunately. So we've got about 25 students in the other class, and Terry, there's only actually 4 students in the class with you. And I also, Terry, didn't get to see and be able to work with the class until Tuesday, because the holiday being Monday, they had a glitch and they tried to get it posted right before they left work on Friday. So by the time I realized that I couldn't see the class, I couldn't tell anybody about it until Tuesday. So got it fixed on Tuesday. So very good. All right. So have fun, Terry. We tend to have fun during the class. It's a time for us to get to know one another and ask whatever questions come off the cuff. The subject matter is somewhat parallel. The bachelor's cohort tends to learn more about the nuts and bolts of what blockchain is, where the masters, because masters are focused on managing and business and more the C-suite level of looks at managing a business. You tend to learn more about what blockchain is from a management perspective and what benefits it could be for management. So today's presentation that I give will kind of be tailored to both directions. So you'll be able to see that. So anyway, how are we doing with 84 would not yet, but love to try it.
Yeah, it looks like we have 3 people who have some sort of filament printer. Everybody else would just like to try it sometime.
Okay. I have a filament printer. Robert, you've got 2?
Yeah, I technically have 2. I have a filament printer and then a couple of resin printers.
Yeah.
So, do a little bit of both.
Yeah, he kind of stole the idea from me and then took off with it, and I haven't been able to keep up with him. So he prints all the time, and I haven't found enough time to get my printer back up and running and get it going again. So, but I really enjoy making toys for my grandkids most of the time. And Robert not only makes things, but he also designs them.
Like the tower, yeah.
Yeah. So tell about that aspect of it.
Oh, I'm not very experienced. This is about the most complex thing I've done. So I can't exactly say I'm super experienced with the design side, but it is a whole lot of fun to create something and make it yourself. And right now I'm printing a part for one of said grandkids' toys that's missing, and they wanted to fix the toy. So every once in a while I get to do stuff like that too, which is fun.
Yeah. And you design in what tool? What software is it?
I use Fusion 360.
Yeah.
So
okay. Which is a 3D modeling tool that outputs 3D images and turns them into printer appropriate files. So that's pretty cool. All right. Well, let's get on to Kahoot. Kahoot is okay. We got 85, 15. 85 and 15. Okay. The resin printers are really cool, although they're a little bit quirky and a little bit more expensive. I find that Robert finds that he has to baby it along a little bit. The models have to be done a certain way so that they drain properly and they solidify properly, or else you get a glob of junk out instead of a neat little model. But some of those models have been pretty cool when they're done right. So,
yep.
And very good. All right. So let's go ahead into classic mode in Kahoot. Now, answer the best you can, Terry especially, because this will be new to you. Grab your cell phones or other mobile devices and log into kahoot.it. And once you get there, put in the game pin of 67231. And once you get into the game, we'll go ahead and get started. This is kind of a question and answer. It's a springboard for being able to share the subject matter about blockchain and learn a little bit along the way, and it gives you a chance to ask the questions about the questions and get even more information. Okay, we got 16 of you joined. Allie. Okay, we got 18. All right, let's see. And Terry's there, good. 18, 19, we got 20 online. We had 20 answer the thing, so maybe we have somebody at work that can't actually get online. That's fine. Sometimes that's the case. Some people keep track of this while they're at work, and that's what we're meant for, is being able to have a class that's available for people who need to also attend jobs and do other family things and such. Okay, we have a person named 67231. That wouldn't be you, Robert. You joker. Robert, my faithful assistant over there, is the comedic relief for the evening. So let's go ahead and get started. We got 20 folks here. Let's go. Okay, and the first question coming up for week 3. Okay. True or false? Governance can be written into the blockchain. True or false? True is blue and red is false. Or false is red, if you want to say it right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Wow. The answers are coming through pretty quick.
And remember, for the most points in this game, answer quickly and answer correctly, because speed seems to make the difference in a lot of these games near the end.
And we got quite a competitive group. Okay, it is true. Governance can be written into the blockchain. Governance basically is a situation where you actually do follow the rules in the smart contracts. And just like any smart contract that can govern the business side of it, it can also govern the governance side of it as well. So yes, governance can be written into the blockchain. So that answer is true. And I only fooled 4 of you that time. So let's move on. And let's see who's on top. Ryan is on top. And you can see who answered the quickest. Ryan just answered first. Got the first correct answer, and then we got a tie for James and Amber. And it'll be pretty close for the first couple. Okay, so we got a quiz. What creates value in a blockchain? Red being well distributed, blue having a coin rise in price, yellow solving a real world problem, and green being backed by a real fiat currency. So what creates value in a blockchain? Now remember, we're talking blockchain for business. So remembering the context is a big clue to the answer to this question. All right, we have 20 answers. There must be 21 people then, because it's not rolling over. At least one more person left to answer still. Okay. All right, 3, 2, 1. Okay, we're almost to the answer. And yellow is the correct answer. What creates value in a blockchain that is written for business is solving a real world problem for the business. So basically, what you have to do is you have to find a problem that the business is trying to solve. And the blockchain, if just like any software that is employed or deployed within a business, a software that is deployed in a business has to solve a real world problem in order to create value for that business. Okay? So it has to solve a supply chain problem, or solve quality issues, or solve provenance issues, knowing where the product came from, like from a certain farm if it's produce, or a certain manufacturer if it's a part in a plane or something that's manufactured. So the idea of blockchain for business literally is solving a real world problem. Now, the other answers are good answers in their context. Being well distributed, where most of you answered your answer, being well distributed is a good quality of a blockchain, but it doesn't provide value. Making sure it's well distributed provides good security, provides the ability for it to be unhackable and secure, but it doesn't necessarily provide value. It's just a feature of the blockchain. Having a coin rise in price, yes, if I were talking Bitcoin or Ethereum or an investment medium, I'd be concerned about the coin raising in price. But a blockchain for business usually does not have public offerings of the coins within the blockchain. And when we look at the blockchain that we're going to examine today, you'll very readily see what we're talking about there, and the fact that the coin price, the coins only help to moderate who does work and gets compensated between the participants for the work being done. So green, being backed by a real fiat currency, no, that's just definitely not. That one was just oh gosh, what else can we fill out for the third answer? So that one really is not a value in a blockchain for business. Okay, let's go next. And Ryan, you dropped 2 positions there. Okay, James, Jihad, and Lamar look like you've got a streak of 2 going, all 3 of you. Okay, true or false? Having a wallet on an exchange like Coinbase is an example of a cold wallet. True is blue and false is red. We're looking for an example of a cold wallet. If you have a wallet on a Coinbase, is it a cold wallet? True or false?
Speaking about our previous question, does being distributed give a blockchain value? You could argue so, but I think the biggest argument against it, the example that always comes to my mind, is back in the late 90s and Beanie Babies. Remember those?
I remember those,
You
but I
remember
don't
those?
think any of the students on here are, maybe
Probably. Okay, I was a little kid.
Okay.
I remember them being everywhere, but everybody was trying to collect them because they were going to be worth a ton of money. And there was a whole bunch of collectors and people buying because they had value. There was a lot of that FOMO kind of happening, just
Callie
like,
does.
right? There you go. See, I'm not that old.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's the same thing. Just because everybody had them doesn't mean they're worth anything. When people don't want them anymore, yeah, find them in thrift stores.
Yeah, do they still exist?
In thrift stores.
In thrift. That's sad. Okay, so I fooled 8 of you. An example of the wallet on a Coinbase is a custodial wallet. A cold wallet is a wallet that you put on a hardware device like a Trezor, or you print off the codes to a piece of paper and erase it off of your hard drive. Just so that it has no connection to the internet. Well, of course, Coinbase being an exchange and you access your wallet on the exchange, it is connected to the internet and available for people to hack, and that's the point. So Coinbase is an example of a custodial wallet. Okay, let's go forward. Okay, we had somebody drop right out of first place, but Jihad and Lamar, I bet, are three in a row, and Dan W has gone up 8 places. That's pretty cool. Okay, question 4. What is not a consensus algorithm? Proof of burn, proof of identity is blue, proof of burn is red, proof of work is yellow, and proof of capacity is green. These questions where I ask what is not something are the hardest questions of all. You got to say, well, have I ever heard of some of those?
I do have to speak up and say Allison believes that yes, they do still make them. So,
Okay.
I hope the people who buy them enjoy them for what
Yes,
they are.
For what they are rather than their investment value.
Their
Exactly.
children's college fund.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Cool.
Well, I collected Hot Wheels cars for years. And some of them are still going up in value, but not very many. Okay. I still have them. Wow, we are spread all the way across. Proof of identity is not a consensus algorithm. Proof of identity is what some blockchains do for people. They'll prove your identity. So the others, proof of burn, which seems kind of odd. I'm going to burn to earn, and that's kind of the weirdness of it. You burn off some cryptocurrencies in order to earn cryptocurrencies, and by burning them, you help manage the consensus algorithm. Proof of work, of course, is the main Bitcoin consensus method, and proof of capacity is one of those obscure ones that I happened to mention in one of my videos, but is not very well known. So yeah, had them spread all the way across. So consensus algorithms are kind of weird. Now, consensus algorithms in a blockchain for business, though, are not any of those. Those are all examples out of the cryptocurrency side of the blockchain equation. Blockchains for business, usually you do very lightweight consensus methods where literally the other computers are just validating transactions, and they don't do much more than just validate the transaction. They don't do any work to earn the prospect of being able to close a block. It just has a mechanism to validate the transaction, move on, close the block. It's all mechanical. And that way they do thousands of transactions every second rather than what Bitcoin does, where they don't process nearly that many. Would not ever even come close to keeping up with Visa or MasterCard. So let's see how we're doing. Jihad is staying on top. Okay, Jihad and Brandon and Lamar. Okay, you guys are not letting anybody get up there with you. Okay. All right, number 5. Let's go. Distributed ledgers are... Okay, red, data held on nodes in a blockchain. Blue, books of account. Yellow, another name for blockchain. And green, Bitcoin. So distributed ledgers, what's the definition of a distributed ledger? All right, Sean is here. Good to see you, Sean. Okay. 16, 18 answers. 19. 20. All right. Hey, all right. We have a majority answering in the correct column there. That's good. Yes, distributed ledgers. All the nodes in a blockchain hold a ledger, and those are the distributed ledgers that we talk about. And for blockchains in business to work, like the example I'll show you later today, the more distributed they are, the better they function. And especially in the master's course, they're going to hit that a lot, how a real blockchain that's well implemented will be very distributed and not just held in a central location. Okay, very good. Jihad, you letting anybody get... Boy, you're not letting anybody catch up, guys. Okay. 3 players have an answer streak of 3. Okay, that's good. All right, number 6. What is not a type of crypto wallet? A cold wallet is red, a custodial wallet is blue, a hot wallet is yellow, or a public wallet is green.
I think the order answer today kind of gave away at least most of the answer here.
The what? Yeah, the what answer did?
The question order that happened today kind of gave you a bit of the answer here.
Oh, you mean the Coinbase question?
Yeah, that one.
Oh, that one? Okay. All righty. Okay, people are still noodling this one. We got 19 answers in, 20 answers in. Okay.
While we wait for this to finish up,
Uh-huh.
how much lag are people experiencing? Because I know we have this set to about a minute delay, and last week we were having some issues. Let us know if the lag's any sort of an issue for you guys, or about how you're experiencing it.
Yeah, you'd experience the lag by not having enough time to answer the question. So, all right, you're right. A public wallet, there's no such thing as a public wallet. In fact, that would be kind of contradictory to the whole concept of cryptocurrencies or of blockchain in particular, because you don't want your wallet to be public, because then that's kind of like telling them everybody what your bank account number is and letting them have at it. So public is not one of those ways. Okay, and a cold wallet, we explained earlier in another question, is a wallet that you just keep offline. Okay, the custodial wallet is the Coinbase wallet, and the hot wallet is just a wallet that you keep, where you keep you keep your node to the blockchain. For example, if you decided to be your own node for the Bitcoin blockchain, and you had a wallet on your computer connected to the internet, that is a hot wallet. It's the most risky out of all of them, and I would not suggest it if you can avoid it. Okay? All right, Jihad, you missed a question. Oh, gosh. Okay, Lamar, Jihad opened the door and let you in a little bit, and Brandon's following by only 2 points. Cool. 7. Okay, blockchains are of no use to business at all. True or false?
Well, here's a gimme question.
A what?
A gimme question.
A gimme question? You think it's that simple? Blue is true and red is false.
Now, notice the negative. They're of no use. Don't get trapped in that.
You give away too many clues.
Giving away clues.
Okay.
I would say, however, about the hot wallet, they are the most risky. And typically you wouldn't recommend it, but the problem is if you ever want it to be a true currency, where it's actually usable and spendable from person to person, you need to have hot wallets. And they need to be secure enough that you can trust that I can send money from a hot wallet to a hot wallet. And that's the only way it'll become more universal the way cash is spent, is if they're all hot wallets.
Yep. So true. All right. We're coming to the end of this one. I doubt I fooled anybody. Perfect. Didn't have anybody to... So everybody knows why they're taking this course. Because blockchains are for business. You betcha. And everybody answered it right. Brandon just answered quicker than the others and took over the first place for Lamar there. Okay, very good. Ariana has a streak of 5. That's pretty cool. What is not a building block of blockchain? Not a building block. A shared ledger is red. Privacy is blue. Trust is yellow. Coins or tokens are green. Not a building block. The keywords here are building block. Interesting how this picture has a QR code sitting down here. Just in the middle of the picture.
Oh boy.
I wonder if you could actually scan that QR code.
It's probably a Rickroll.
Okay. Sanel, thank you. Katya. In North Carolina got caught in traffic. Wow. Okay, cool. Coins or token is not a building block of blockchain, but privacy, trust, and shared ledgers are. So good. Good. The majority answered that good. Very good. Okay, Brandon. Oh, Brandon lost first. Back to Lamar. You guys are just duking it out there for the time. Businesses gain efficiencies by red, accepting bitcoins as payments, blue, deploying blockchain to improve the image of the company, yellow, reducing the number of intermediaries in the process, and green, providing NFTs to represent your product lines. So which would be the best answer here? To gain efficiencies. How do you become more efficient? Okay.
You know, I'm kind of sad that NFTs aren't as popular as they used to be. Not because I ever liked them or ever used them, but they were fun to laugh at.
Fun to laugh at. Okay. All right, we're coming up on the answer here. And perfect. Reducing the number of intermediaries in a process saves everybody money. Okay. We have a challenge here. Brandon is coming after Lamar here. Okay. Let's move on. What does trustless mean? Bitcoin is supposedly a trustless technology. So trust, red, comes from government in fiat currency. We can trust them a lot, right? Blue, trust comes from, trustless means you can't rely on it. Yellow, trust is earned and not from code. And green, not having to rely on individuals, but on computer code. And we have a nice caricature of our good friend, who's that?
That would be of Apple fame.
Of Apple fame, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
As one person put it, Tim Apple.
Tim Apple? Okay. Wonderful Steve Jobs.
Yeah, Steve Jobs.
He made the computer world exciting. Him and Bill Gates duking it out when they were younger. Very good. 13 of them got it right. That's great. That's great. It's kind of a negative term, trustless, but at the same time, that's really what you're not having to trust an intermediary is the whole trustless idea. So, Brandon. All right, Lamar, he got you. Okay. Okay, last questions. How do blockchains build trust? Red, by not changing the algorithm as Ethereum did. Blue, by creating an immutable record. Yellow, by making stakeholders purchase coin. And green, by not using fiat currency. So which answer do you like the best? Well, how do blockchains build trust?
Yeah, this is definitely one of those questions where you can make an argument for all of them, but there is one that's clearly better than the rest.
Yes. I like questions like that.
Yeah.
All right, we're coming up on an answer here. Okay, great. 15 people answered blue, which is the correct answer. And the podium, we'll see what third place is first. And third place goes to Feo. Hey, boy, you came up out of the bottom there. Dan got second. And who gets the grand prize? Brandon, you did take him. Man, good job. Lamar ended up getting knocked into fourth and Jihad into fifth. All right, that was fun. Okay, so I am going to close this, and we're going to talk today. I'm going to go ahead and go straight into our first article. Renault, I don't know how many people know cars, but Renault has been a maker of vehicles for a very, very long time. Jihad says he misses one question and it's over. Yeah, I got some pretty stiff competition, don't you? That's good. So Renault is a European builder of cars. In fact, growing up, Renault made some kind of weird-looking cars. I didn't think much of them. I mean, they were European, and American cars looked very different than European cars as I was growing up. And this is an example of the Renault Sport Spider that is currently in production right now. A little two-seater. It's pretty powerful. It's a pretty good sports car in its own right. They also build cars for racing, and this is one of their higher-end racing sports cars. So they build some pretty classy looking cars today. They're plain Jane cars, like their SUVs and their run-of-the-mill, sell it to the public type cars, where you and I could actually afford them, are pretty plain looking, kind of normal, down the middle sort of cars. But the whole point here is the subject of our discussion today literally is the automotive industry in Europe, and led by Renault. So I'm going to close this, and we're going to talk about a blockchain called Exceed, and we'll see what the acronym is. Got to drive a Renault Cupra in Bosnia. They're fun cars. I bet today they really, really are. Very good. So we're going to talk about the Exceed blockchain. And the benefits that it's producing for the companies that are using it today. So basically what's happened is the Exceed blockchain, this was the announcement of an agreement between, and I'm going to slaughter these names, I bet, Faurecia, Group Renault, NOF Industries, Simoldes, and I'm going to slaughter this one too. It's a Turkish name, Kazkunos, in association and working with IBM They signed a partnership contract for the employment of Exceed. Now, Exceed stands for Extended Compliance End-to-End Distributed. It's a blockchain-based solution to trace compliance, basically safety compliance of parts assembled in a vehicle, and basically do it almost real time. As each part is produced and shipped, you can see its manifest, you can see where it's being shipped from, you can see the inspection documents, and all of it's posted right along with the shipping documents for the product going from one place to another. This announcement followed the testing of Exceed at the Douai plant. This is a plant in France, and it'll be deployed to partners and plants around the European and Central Asian area. Bursa in Turkey, Douai in France, in Spain, and it's now open to global original equipment manufacturers, OEMs, and suppliers, no matter how big they are, throughout the supply chain. The big benefit that they're going to use here is that the European Union is really, really big on regulations, okay? You've seen the Data Protection Act, where they're protecting people's identities and wanting, and they passed these laws so that people could get their names and information removed from systems like Facebook and other systems when they can request them to do so. It's these kind of regulations that the European Union is really fond of, and one of those issues is the fact that there was going to be even more regulation for the auto industry. So Renault kind of saw this coming. And so Renault teamed up with IBM, and this is what they said. It's from their website. It says, until recently, the only way to keep track of supply chain was through databases and paper trails. Keeping up with compliance documentation was onerous and a time-consuming task. Automakers and suppliers had little visibility into layers of component compliance. Okay, talking about component compliance, can you imagine how many parts go into a car? It's just mind-boggling when you really break down a vehicle and see how many little widgets get assembled to make a full vehicle. So because you had no way to share the information across the supply chain to regulators or consumers, they needed to find a way to be able to do that. So all that changed when Renault Group removed its supply chain documentation to the Exceed blockchain, and then they invited the rest of the auto industry to join them. Now, this is a process. The master's course focuses on this really heavily, the fact that it's a process to get a bunch of businesses together to create a
governance board, advisory council.
No, enough people to get in that it's got enough.
Yeah, a critical mass.
Critical mass. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah.
Sometimes the brain fogs up, and so it's hard to get a critical mass. And the master's course really talks about developing that critical mass and what it takes. But so over the past few years, they invested a lot in their digital transformation, and one of those focuses for them was to partner with IBM and work on this Exceed blockchain so that they could not only, computerize all their documentation, but also have a way to share it once it's computerized. The big challenge that businesses have if they don't use a blockchain type of system is, I can have all that data in my warehouse, but it doesn't do anybody else any good if I can't get the right documentation to the right people at the right time. And so the critical piece of a blockchain literally is that everybody contributes their piece of the puzzle at the time that they are critical in the process. So let's say a switch has to be sent from a vendor, and it's a critical switch for a component in the vehicle. Well, when that switch is tested and certified, all that testing and certification documentation goes with that part. Well, if you're in a blockchain, it goes with the blockchain, and all that documentation, instead of being this piece of paper that you've got to keep track of, it's totally electronic and can be called up, printed, and dealt with at any part of the process, which is the whole thing. So in 2018, Odile Panciatici, not good at names when they're European, but vice president of blockchain projects at Renault, saw new European regulations on the horizon. These stricter regulations would come with shorter response timeframes, and she knew using blockchain to manage the supply chain could provide real-time certification of compliance to partners, customers, and regulators. So she understood what blockchain was all about. She understood the value of blockchain. She understood the value of a distributed ledger and of many people providing bits of information and literally making everybody's work a lot lighter. So distributed ledger technology made it possible to share and track information across various users. Permissions control access. In other words, you join the blockchain and you're given a user account. That's the big thing, and it's the big difference between a Bitcoin account and an account on Exceed, for example. You apply to be a partner in Exceed, you apply and you get accepted based on the fact that you have something viable to contribute. You're a supplier of something. You have customers that are already in the blockchain, whatever requirement there is, and then permissions control that access. So where Bitcoin doesn't know who's part of the blockchain at all, these technologies like Exceed know every player, and everybody has an account and is a trusted player in the system. So permissions control the access and visibility, so each party maintains confidentiality of its own data as well. So in other words, if a part is being shipped from supplier A to consumer B can see that information, where consumer A, of course, would not be privy to that information because it's not their part. So permissions allow it also to segregate the ability to see your data and not see people's data that doesn't belong to you. So it creates a network of trust between the participants, okay? So it also speeds up information sharing, creates, bigger efficiencies all the way across. It's getting rid of all those middlemen. It's getting rid of all of those employees that you had to hire just to push paper around, to file paper, and to retrieve that paper when you needed to show a particular person who needed to see the documentation. What would they call that? Not a vendor, but not a supervisor.
A bean counter?
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
So that's the point for blockchain. It says Panciatici, I think something like that. The value is not for one entity. The value is for each member of the ecosystem. And they literally call these ecosystems because, you've got suppliers from, manufacturers of pieces and parts all the way up to manufacturers of complex components that get shipped to an end product. You will even have the manufacturer actually do that. So, Panciatici got a hold of IBM. IBM then had a long relationship with Renault already because they probably did a lot of other computer work for them over the decades that IBM's been around. After a design session with Renault and other industry participants, because understand, the person that contacted IBM from Renault understood blockchains already. So she's going and collecting a whole bunch of people who are of like mind and pulling them all together. We saw a few of those names in that document that said that they signed the agreement to get together and to work in Exceed. They bring those all together. They have a design session. They start figuring out what the requirements are for the system to process for, compliance and documentation to those people who make sure that they're compliant. They then certifies compliance of all the vehicle components. So no matter how small of a supplier you are, once you put that you're shipping a product, you put all the documentation in, and it completely keeps following that piece of that piece of product all the way up until it's in the final assembly. So it says here, Exceed certifies compliance of all vehicle components from design through production to after sales. It completely was tested at the Douai plant, and now Exceed archived over 1 million documents at 500 transactions per second, and that was the end test. How fast could it go? How much could it do? And that was acceptable, an acceptable benchmark at that point. Now, as you get more distributed, as you bring on more people, the count of number of processed transactions will continue to go up as you have more computing power that's joining and everybody working together and all the nodes are cooperating with each other. It creates a greater and greater volume that can be processed, not just that it needs to process more, it can process more. So instead of spending time with linear exchanges, trading files, emails, phone calls, they have a direct tool that all they have to do is log in and figure out what they need to request from the various vendors in the way of documentation and their real-time exchanges. In other words, somebody ships your part and it's still in process, you can go see the quality documentation on it right then. You don't have to wait for the part to get there before you can see the specifications and make sure everything is right. So let's go on. Optel was another company that got involved with this. So in April 18th, 2023, they report joining the group, and this is what they talk about. They say industries are facing increasing regulation and consumer expectations regarding enhanced end-to-end transparency and traceability. We're seeing that in not just the automotive industry, but the aerospace industry. I mean, with the number of things that are recalled and repaired constantly by companies, they need good, quick access. The food distribution industry is constantly liable for bad food that might come from a farm and needs to be found and eradicated from the food chain so that other people don't get sick with E. coli or whatever type of illness. So regulations are getting increasingly more onerous to prove that you can do this, and blockchain is just meant for that kind of work. It says this has now become a fundamental priority in an ever more complex and distributed global supply chain landscape, as the need for digital product passport. That's an interesting term here. A digital product passport has become crucial. Optel worked with IBM, the integrator of the Exceed blockchain-based platform for end-to-end compliance in industries such as automotive. It demonstrates how collaboration in leveraging innovative technologies brings transparency to those industries. So, Knauf Industries was another one of those. They are a conglomerate that is based in France near Germany, on the basically France-German border. But they have plants all over Europe and a lot in Brazil where they do a lot of their manufacturing. And they're saying Exceed is the first blockchain project in the automotive industry. And although its testing phase was completed only last year, it already is bringing real benefits. Platform was created in response to an ever-increasing requirements related to safety and environmental protection across the European Union. Now, it'll be interesting to see if it jumps the pond and comes over here to any of the US-based car manufacturers, or even to Japan or Korea or any of the Asian-based manufacturers too of automobiles, to see if they pull them into the fold. And because I'm sure that all of these companies sell in the European Union, so it's not a far-fetched idea to have to also have provenance on all of those parts that go into a Chevy or a Ford that is consumed in the European Union as well, or even a Toyota or Acura or any vehicle that's created in Japan. You would think the same requirements would exist there, that eventually, if this continues to be successful, that they may in fact join this blockchain as well. So in the future, the complete ecosystem could also include car dealers and even end customers. who could enter service requests via this channel, for example. So let's say I buy a brand new car, and I buy this brand new car, and I get an account with this as a consumer. I have a car that I bought, and I have a problem with service. I can go put in a request there, see if there's a problem, if there's a recall on a particular part, and tell whether or not it's under warranty and could automatically be fixed by the dealer instead. So in fact, all processes taking place in the automotive industry, from communication with the customer through purchase and financial instruments to production and service, could take place in a virtual world thanks to the blockchain technology. So the Exceed project really is a breakthrough step towards innovation. And I'm excited to see this because IBM is really making inroads in a lot of different areas. We'll talk later about how IBM also in the food industries has brought in Walmart and various large corporations that have produce, and brought them into the Food Trust blockchain that they built in the same manner as this as well. So that really is what I have for Exceed. Do you have any questions about what Exceed is about, or the benefits that can that extend from a blockchain like this or a system like this?
Well, they're thinking. My general thought when it comes to blockchain, especially, I think this example highlights it very well. One of the biggest risks that are happening as globalization continues, or greater interconnectedness of corporations and across country lines or whatever else, as that happens, what you end up having is this domino effect, that any harm or damage that happens to one happens to all of them. It takes everybody down whenever something bad happens. I think a good case in point was the issue with the romaine lettuce that happened a few years ago that caused this massive recall that happened across the entire country. And I think one of the other benefits of blockchain is that it helps to mitigate the risks that this interconnectedness, or I don't want to say globalization because that has the negative connotations to it, rightfully so, but it can help mitigate those issues.
Exactly. By being able to zero in to where exactly the particular romaine lettuce that caused the problem came from, instead of having to pull the entire lot of romaine lettuce from all suppliers, and everybody feels the pain and loses billions of dollars in total produce that's just destroyed over trying to fix it. So, all right. I'm not seeing any questions. I saw good discussion about having fun cars, and I'm not quite sure what GG or GGWP means.
That's good game.
Good game.
And okay. Good game, well played.
Well played. Okay,
Yes.
So you can tell that I'm more retirement age rather than... I definitely did not grow up in the texting world where those abbreviations became prevalent. So, very good. All right. Did I put the whole crowd to sleep out there? Is anybody awake?
No, you
out
just
there?
explained it so well. There's nothing left to explain. They're pretty much ready to graduate.
Okay, then let's call for the for everybody to tell me they're still here, and we'll see y'all next week. Okay?
Okay.
Remember that you can text me with questions during the week. Email me. Calling me on my cell phone doesn't work very well because when I'm at home, it doesn't even ring on my phone. I'm in such a huge dead spot. Oh, good. Terry's awake. Good. Okay. Thanks for a great class. Appreciate the compliment. Okay. See you next week. And we'll look forward to having a few more master's students online with us. And they'll add some good balance as they ask their questions as they get a little further into their book. All right. We'll look forward to seeing you next week. I'm going to go ahead and put the closing screen on there. I'll stay online for those of you who haven't said goodbye yet, and we'll see you next week. Thanks.